It's TJX. We live. And today's video is not clickbait. This is a very big deal. This is actually very serious. Population decline. And it's global. Global population decline. This is not just in one country. This is not just in one area of the world. This is a global problem. And the countries that are affected: Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, Macau, Hong Kong, Puerto Rico, British Virgin Islands, Poland, Greece, Bulgaria, Lithuania, Latvia, Ukraine, Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, Moldova, Japan, Albania, Romania, Estonia, Hungary, Poland, Georgia, Portugal, North Macedonia, Cuba, Italy, China, US, just to name a few. I'm pretty sure that's not even all of them, but I don't have enough time to name them all, honestly. These are all countries with low birth rate and low population, declining population. What's the reason? Well, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And this is basically just a reaction to many different things. So, one of the first problems, or one of the first causers of this problem, is feminism. Feminism and education. That's actually 1 and 2, as are the most. They're the biggest factors. They're the biggest factors that create low birth rate. And so let's just break down the first one. Okay, education. Okay, so now here's the problem with education. And before I continue, I want to say that everybody is entitled to do what they want to do, but everything comes at a cost. You could do what you want. You could put your hand in a fire pit. You could pick up hot coals. You could do it, but there's a cost. Nothing is free. We have to understand that. Okay, so now what we have is in countries where women are highly educated, what's happening is they're going off to college, they're going off to pursue these higher learning careers, and they're not pursuing families. So now the average woman is getting married at 30. Instead of getting married at 21, 22, 23, like it was just 10, 20, 30 years ago, right? At first, when did all of this start? The beginning of the birth decline happened in 1960. What else happened in 1960? The pill. Birth control, abortions, that came in like the 70s. So it was like 1960, that was the pill. 1970, that was abortion. Back to back. And with every single addition to this modern medicine, at least for women, the population decreased. And so now with all the propaganda, that is the feminism part, with all the propaganda being poured out by every major news station, by the internet, by blogs, by shows, by your own parents, by school, by social media, right? With all of these different outlets pouring feminism and this feministic agenda onto young women, now what you have are generations of women that are no longer having kids and no longer excited about having kids. They think that chasing a degree that they're going to burn out on in about 15, 20 years, because women don't work as long as men do. Now, I'm not saying that there's not some women that haven't had long careers, but on average, it doesn't happen. On average, men work longer hourly and lifespan of their career longer than women, on average. So now so women are chasing educations. They're postponing getting pregnant, and then what ends up happening is they're right at that threshold to where their fertility is in question. Now they have weak fertility. Because you get married at 30, you have a couple kids, maybe 2 or 3 years in, and now at this point, you're done. Now you're looking at 40. And now, how many kids are you going to be able to have in those years? Probably not many, if any at all. And not everybody has the access to in vitro and all these things that help women who are older have children. Not everybody has the money for that. That's very expensive. So all of the role models that are screaming this hot girl summer know that they're going to be able to afford that when they hit 40 with their man that they've been with for over a decade or a long time. You don't know that. The average woman does not know that she's 100% going to have access to fertility medicine and in vitro and things like that later in life. There's no guarantee. So the feminism sells you on this thing that not having kids is being equal to a man, and being a man is somehow makes you equal to a man, but that's just doesn't make sense. I mean, even in lifting weights, a woman's pelvis is tilted forward. A man's pelvis is straight up and down. So hers are created to bear children. Ours are created to carry things, to be athletic, to hunt, to use our physicality to help us survive in the world around us. So if you think about it, it's a scam. And this is being pushed on women from the time they're little girls. I mean, from Disney to HBO, this is being pushed on them. So there's that. Another problem, or another cause of the problem is technology and urbanization. And they're both pretty much the same thing, but with technology and urbanization, basically what you have is people are no longer around their families. People are no longer in families. People are now in the system. Do you see what I'm saying? Now people are in the system. Now people are on the will. Well, as long as you're on the will, there's no really way for you to be able to do that. Exactly. And then also within that, you know, back in the day, it used to be your aunties and your mom and your grandma telling women, look, when are you going to give me a baby? When are you going to give me a baby? And now they're telling them, you be a strong, independent woman. And you take care of yourself. You don't need no man. Well, it takes a man and a woman to have a baby. So now abortion rates are through the roof. The pill is being sold, at an exponential rate. And our populations are declining. Women would rather get attention than to be forsaken to do their duties as women to their family. Instead, they'd rather pass it off to the babysitter and everyone else so they could go make money for a couple of years while they're at their peak and then burn out. And then there's the hive mind. And that's really what social media is there. Social media is really, really good at creating that hive mind. One girl says hot girl summer, now they all say hot girl summer. 100 monkeys. Girls act like they're so strong and independent, but they follow whatever they hear on TV. They follow whatever the next trend is on social media. I mean, come on. It's blatantly obvious. It's blatantly clear. And then I would say the last thing is inflation. Inflation, economics, and broken homes. Broken homes on both sides. Broken homes when children are coming up, and broken homes when you decide to make your own family and then that family becomes broken. This is a big deal. This is a big deal because here you have people, you have people that are coming from broken homes, creating broken homes, and now these children are going to repeat that same cycle, right? And so now without that nuclear family, which is another thing that, that feminist movement, that one is in complete assault on a nuclear family unit, which is essentially the foundation of communism. Communism is not, doesn't work if they don't have the kids separated from the parents. See, communism has a very systematic breakdown in the way that it works to impose communism on a country. You wouldn't even realize that you are becoming a communist country until it's too late. And this is a real thing. Let me look up the steps of communism. So we have these factors. And with no support system and with no village, with no body telling you the right things all the time, with everybody just telling you live a hot girl summer, go get the bag, sis, and fuck these niggas, get this money. You'll be doing that until you realize it's too late. And then once you realize it's too late, well, it's too late. You've crapped out. When you should have cashed in your chips, you stood at the table. And unfortunately, it has a bigger repercussion, not only to the girl, but it has a bigger repercussion to humanity. Because now the population is declining. And America can let in as many immigrants as they want to, but it's not really going to change the fact that we have to get the birth rate back up. We have to stop these ideologies and these practices that don't support the birth rate. The birth rate's been declining since 1965. Sharp. I mean, not even close. Not even like, it might be, dipping a little bit, but it's completely out of there. You remove the father out of the home. You give the woman welfare. That's not enough to live off of. You break the family unit. You tell them to be educated, so now she's an LVN and she thinks she's a doctor. And even if she is a doctor, how long is she going to go? And if she does go for a long time, good for her, but what are the state of the kids? I mean, so there's a lot of factors here. And I believe that free choice is definitely good. But I think that, so these are the problems, and the average birth rate around the world is about 1.2. It's about 1 point to 1.5 to 2 point, right? I think that just like there's incentives for the breakdown of the nuclear family, like no-fault divorce, like child support, like alimony, all of these different things. Just like there is a incentive to break the family up, propaganda, right? There should be an incentive to keep the nuclear family. And I think that's the only solution. Keep the nuclear family. For instance, she shouldn't get welfare if she's a single mom. She should only get welfare if she is with a man and has a family. We should only be giving assistance to families, not single moms. I believe everybody should get free healthcare. I mean, healthcare and food stamps and things like that, but not money, not assistance. I believe that if you have a family, you should get a house. You know how many people that would probably lead to a baby boom. If you knew that you got a crib as soon as you had a family, people would stay together and they would have families, because that house is now a really big reason and a big factor to stay together. It's really good incentive. We got to start thinking about incentives to bring the nuclear family together, to bring more support. Why don't the grandparents get paid by the government to be babysitters immediately for the children? So that way the children are being watched by the grandparents, so maybe both parents can go out to work. I mean, just certain policy changes and certain things could bring everybody together instead of the policies that are ripping everything apart. I don't think feminist propaganda should be able to be showed on, TV. I think you should have to go click for that. I don't think it should just be shown to you. Take the programming out of the TV shows. Just stop the assault, basically, on the nuclear family and on the woman. If we're going to make it to the next generation healthy, because there's consequences for the economy declining. For the population declining, and it is one of them is the economy declining, less innovations, unbalanced sexes. There might be more men than girls. There might be more girls than guys. I mean, there's all different kind of repercussions for going in that direction of low population, and the government doesn't always know what they're talking about. The government doesn't always know what they're doing. China is on the brink. Everybody in their civilization is getting old. Everybody in their country is getting old. So they're going to have more old people than young people, or even middle-aged people, because they did the 1 baby policy. Then they did the 2 baby policy. Now I think it's a 3. You have to let people do what they want to do, and you have to give them incentives to do the right things. And everything will balance itself out. hopefully, because usually when there is a population decline, it doesn't go the other way. And that could lead to extinction. Less people on the planet, less problem solvers, less possibilities. Let's say another pandemic runs through, a real one. If we have a low population, we could get taken out. I mean, there's so many. We're so much more fragile, and we're so much more easier. It's so much easier for us to go extinct if we're not doing what we do best, and that's thriving as human beings. So, just a little bit of food for thought. It's a really serious topic to think about. I mean, at what cost? Feminism, at what cost? When does freedom just become negligence? Does this freedom mean, okay, well, just because I'm free, I don't have to pay taxes anymore? I mean, do I still have a responsibility to my country, to the world, to my family? I mean, we have to think about these things, and women are exempt from that. And that's the game. Tell me what y'all think below. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.